This video is for the person who has a difficult time taking up space, who always feels like a burden, who shames themselves immensely for little comments or little mistakes that they make in conversations. Maybe you replay it, maybe you just completely bring yourself down when you do something that isn't to your very high standard that you have for yourself, but you don't have for other people. But first, my name is Naomi. I am here to help you finally move past those traumas, to reframe your mind, and to remove those emotional blockages so you can reclaim your life. My messages are not for everybody, but if you felt drawn to this video, it's very likely because you are meant to hear the words in it, and they will help you. A lot of us shame ourselves, most of us do, but there is feeling bad, and then there's constant shame, and then there's the constant feeling of being a burden, and that both of them are a problem, but some of us suffer more with it than others. And the reason is because we experience some form of neglect as a child. And this neglect included the neglect of acknowledgement and the neglect of appreciation for our authenticity. And maybe you grew up in a family, you grew up with a parent or parents who either said it verbally or with their actions that children are to be seen, not heard. Okay? Maybe you try to show up authentically to your parents, you try to be yourself in certain ways, and you got shut down. And maybe this happened continuously, or maybe this just happened to you one time, and you got this message from that one time that you are a burden and you are not enough. And so what does that do? It causes those children to grow up with the message that they are not enough and they are a burden, and it shows up as an adult. We don't just grow out of this. We have to consciously choose to overcome this by healing it, by changing our mindset. Okay, so that's what I'm going to talk about today. I'm going to teach you how to overcome this. So on my channel, I like to give you some awareness, some education as to why you were doing the thing that you were doing. You were suffering in some sort of way internally. But I don't like that to be the main focus, because education will just give you more knowledge about why you think you're broken, but you're not broken. I want you to actually overcome it. So let's talk about it now. So something may happen as you have this message that you are a burden. If you know about the law of assumption, then you know what I'm going to say. When we have this assumption about ourselves, consciously or unconsciously, that we are a burden, that we shouldn't take up space, that we need to be quiet, or we just do it as a default. Sometimes, a lot of the time, because we have this message in our mind, we actually find ourselves surrounded by people and being treated in a way that reflects that message that we have about ourselves. So as you do this work and as you change your mindset, you are going to notice, without you even surrounding yourself with different people, the people around you are going to treat you differently. You're going to get another level of respect that you never got before, because internally you have that respect for yourself. So that is just a little cherry on top that I want to give you to help motivate you to do this work, to stop feeling like you're a burden. So the first one is a perspective shift. This can be enough for some people to completely change. And the perspective shift is when you either look back or consciously decide to realize this as you go into your next conversation, you meet up with your next group of people, you hang out with friends, family, whatever. I want you to start to become aware of how you think about other people. And I want you to start to become aware of what other people do that is similar to what you do, and how you think about them when they do that thing versus how you think about yourself. The thing is, when we have this mentality that we are a burden and that we cannot take up space, when other people do things that we do, maybe they make a mistake, maybe they just walk into a room, we think nothing of it. We think for some reason that they are better than us, so they don't need to be shamed for the things that they do. They don't need to be shamed for confidently walking into a room. They don't need to be shamed for having bold conversations, but for some reason we think we do. So the first thing you need to do is ask yourself why. Ask yourself what's true about what you are telling yourself. We received this message that we are a burden, and we received this message that we cannot be bold and we cannot be confident from the neglect we received as a child. But is it true? And what if what our parents did, or our parents do, or our caregivers, whoever it was that raised us, that gave us this message that we are not enough and we cannot be bold and confident. What if they gave that message to us because they were hurting in some way and they didn't have the capacity? They were doing literally the best they knew how. Even if they were abusing you, it's because they were doing the best they knew how, and it was messed up. And it still is messed up, and nothing can ever take that away. But those who hurt people are hurt at the end of the day. And so if a hurt person hurt you, does it mean that their message was true? Never. Never. Bullies hurt people, but their messages aren't true. Okay? We have to question the message that we received and ask if it's true. And if it's not true for these other people that walk into rooms confidently and boldly, and they can do it, and we don't shame them in our minds, but we shame ourselves when we do it. Why? Why do we have the right to do that to ourselves? We owe it to ourselves. We have one life. We have the responsibility as an adult to be the person who takes care of us, not our husband, not our wife, and not our parents anymore. It's us. Why are we treating ourselves the same way that our parent treated us, by playing small when we don't have to, by thinking we need to play small, by thinking we need to be quiet, by thinking our words don't matter? If we receive that message then, we owe it to ourselves to change the message now. So question, why do I have this message? Is it true? If my parent was hurt, if the person who gave me this message was hurt and they were hurting and they gave me that message because of their pain, then the message was from their pain. Their message was never from truth. I'm allowed to be bold. I'm allowed to be confident. And now, it may be your default to be very quiet, very calm, but I have something to tell you. I was so shy and so quiet as a child and so insecure. Like, I hated myself. I was the definition of someone who hated themselves. It showed up in a lot of ways. It showed up with my thinking. It showed up with my thoughts. It showed up with how I treated myself, with self-harm, with just the fact that I couldn't have a conversation without anxiety. I couldn't have a mirror in my room because I couldn't look at myself. I hated myself, okay? And I was so shy. And now I'm very confident, okay? And I travel the world by myself and I talk to people all the time, and I have no fear going places by myself. I have no fear walking into a room, so confident. Like, I radiate confidence, and people tell me this all the time. This in no way is to boast, and if that triggers you, then question why. I'm saying this to show you that it doesn't matter how shy you are. It doesn't matter how quiet you are. It doesn't matter your childhood. It doesn't matter the reasons why you are the way you are. You can change it. You can be the most confident person, the most bold person who walks into a room. I don't care what you think your personality is. You can change anything about yourself, okay? Anything. We can change, and we can start shifting our thinking. So the first thing we need to rid is this idea that we have to stay small, and the reasons we think why. Ask yourself the reasons, journal on it, meditate on it, ask yourself what's true. And then when you get that full body conviction of, holy crap, I don't need to think this way anymore, it's not true, that's when we need to start consciously shifting our mindset and repeating new things in our mind. Repetition, including emotion, having conviction, speaking with authority as you think your new thoughts. Repetition with emotion is the best way to imprint the subconscious mind. The subconscious is where our actions come from. So how do we change our actions? How do we become more bold? How do we stop playing so small? We repeatedly change the message we have in our brain with conviction, with authority, with emotion. Okay? It doesn't matter if it feels unfamiliar at first. That doesn't matter. Keep going. It doesn't matter. Even if you don't feel anything, you'll notice your actions will very likely change. Okay? What do we repeat? We repeat what we want. We repeat what we want to think about ourselves, what our most confident version of ourselves would think. We think about how we don't shame other people for what they do, so therefore we never shame ourselves again for how we walk into a room, how we speak, the mistakes we make, because we are simply human. We let ourselves walk into a room boldly. We imagine what it would look like if we did, and then we go through with what we imagine what our most confident self would do. We never shame ourselves, like I said, for what we say, how we walk into a room, how we speak. Let me turn around here, okay? And we start repeating what we would repeat if we were that most bold and confident version of ourselves, especially before we have those conversations, especially before we walk into the room. I am the most confident person here. I love taking up space. It's so easy for me to take up space. And what I love to do is start affirming and saying things that of what other people would think of me. Start saying things like, everyone knows I'm the most confident person here. I know that sounds really narcissistic, but watch how things change. Everyone knows I'm the most confident person here. Everyone knows I'm confident. Everyone knows I'm secure. Everyone respects the words I'm saying. I respect the words I'm saying. People love to hear what I have to say. That's a big one. That's a big one. Law of assumption. People will start to love the words that you have to say. If you think people don't love the words you have to say, how are people going to react around you? Watch, there's going to be a difference. So repeat words, repeat what you would think, and you want other people to think over and over and over. Become that new version of yourself. Question why you thought you couldn't be that version of yourself. Realize you owe it to yourself to be that version of yourself, and let yourself take up space, because why the heck not? Why the heck not? You have one life. Why the heck not? Why not? What's wrong with your words? Nothing. What's wrong with the way you walk into a room? Nothing. What's wrong with being bold and confident? Nothing. You're allowed to be. Give yourself permission. You literally can change anything about yourself in an instant. If you want to, you can change who you are. It doesn't matter who you've been for the last 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 years. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You have one life. You get to wake up and say, I choose to be somebody else now. Because why not? You have the capability to. You can. And if you think you can't, that's because you don't want to. If you're like feeling a lot of resistance and a lot of maybe anger to this message, it's because there's a part of you that wants to stay small. But if you feel inspired, and question that, if you feel inspired, if you feel excited, that's because your body and your mind are resonating with the fact and knows that you can literally change. And you can do it right now. I'm no longer the version of me that stays small. I changed very quickly. Very quickly. People didn't recognize me. When I went back home, eventually people were like, whoa, what the heck did you do? Like, you're so different. And it didn't take very long at all. Okay, stop playing small. Be kind, compassionate, and loving to yourself when you make mistakes, when you stutter, when you mess up. Who cares? Who the heck cares? Nobody does. Don't let yourself. If you want more inspiration, if you want to grow, have more videos that will help you, put them on the screen. I'll put the ones that I think will help you the most on the screen here. All right, leave a comment. Talk to me below. I want to talk to you guys. Give me some inspiration and some video ideas of what you want to see next. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. Again, talk to me in the comments. I want to talk to you guys. Okay, bye guys.